Welcome to Therapy for Nerds. I'm your host, Cassidy Russell, along with,
Abbey Ronquillo and
Katie Busse.
and today we are joined by the amazing Krista Parker, an,
no, just kidding.
an AMFT, so an Associate Marriage and Family Therapist that I had the pleasure of working alongside, and I am very happy to have join us. She was great, like we had a client that we shared together, and that was fantastic. Great experience. And so, yes, Krista wanted to come on and talk about some games that have been helping her during the pandemic. Krista, why don't you take it away?
Okay. Well, yes, I'm Krista.
Yes.
I am an associate marriage and family therapist. That means I'm not licensed like these beautiful ladies yet. And just like Cassidy has said, I've worked with her. I've worked with all of them actually, and it's been such a pleasure. And I'm really excited to be here on the podcast because I've been wanting to, especially talking about like gaming and stuff like that. So it's really been a pleasure to work with these ladies, and also I'm excited to be here. So yeah, do I just go in? Should I just go into
Let's just go
the
into
gaming?
it. Yeah.
So a little background on me. I'm kind of like a gamer adjacent. That makes sense. My brother was super into gaming growing up, and he never taught me, so I would just watch him the whole time. So I was adjacent. I've always wanted to, but I'm Filipino. My mom would always be like, "Oh, like ladies don't do that," or like, "Oh, you're too old for that." And so I didn't really give myself permission to do any type of gaming until now. And actually until I met my current boyfriend right now, because he's a super nerd, like loves comic books, loves gaming and stuff. And he kind of gave me permission to do it, I guess, in a way, because I felt like I needed that. And of course, the first game I picked up was during quarantine, the Animal Crossing. And I've never played Animal Crossing before. I know there's a lot of versions before. I've watched my cousins played it. And I gotta say, in times where I did not feel like I have control, it gave me that control. And I really enjoyed it. And I loved it. And I also got to hang out with Abby and Cassidy on Animal Crossing too when I couldn't see them. So,
I was
you
about to
know,
say,
it,
for the record, your island is gorgeous.
it's still the same. It's like, do I want to tear it down and start all over, or just like, keep going? But yeah, that was kind of like literally the first part of the quarantine, like kept me busy, especially when things were so unpredictable and kind of scary. It kind of really let me challenge, all that and kind of get more my control back. And even New Year's Eve, I spent it on Animal Crossing with my cousins. So it's been a great outlet for me, especially when I'm thinking too much. For you guys, how has Animal Crossing kind of helped you? What is your own kind of history with Animal Crossing? Because I know you guys have played the old ones, right?
OG player right here. I played the GameCube version. I had multiple memory cards with multiple towns and like made multiple towns with my sister and my cousin and got yelled at by Rossetti and cried.
Oh, it's funny. Anyone else have anything with Animal Crossing?
Katie, did you ever play Animal Crossing prior? I actually don't know.
No, actually, so like Krista, this was my first time picking it up. Like I've played a lot of games over the years, but Animal Crossing had like just never crossed my path somehow until the pandemic, essentially. Yeah, but it was
Yeah.
really great because like even though I didn't have that history with the game, like I feel like it was so easy just to get like sucked into the characters and the way that it was run, and like because of it I learned more about like the old games and the history of it. And I think it's like it has like a degree of timelessness in that way, where even though I'd never experienced the previous ones, I felt like I kind of understood it from this one.
Yeah. And it's like a sense of community I got from it, because I would join all these
Mhm.
discords, and like to get everything I would have to trade so many things. And I don't know, with strangers, it was nice during the pandemic, a good way to kind of get my mind off of things.
Abby, what's your like relationship with the franchise?
I did have it for the GameCube. However, I didn't have a lot of friends, because it didn't have like the internet capabilities or like online gameplay. I didn't have a lot of friends come over physically to play with me, nor did I have a lot of people interested in it. So this version of the game, the Switch version, was the actual first version where I had people to play with. So it was much more fun, especially I guess the timing with the pandemic and everything, and being able to utilize that creative mode and like terraforming and everything. But as we had mentioned in a previous episode, discussing how that was a little bit overwhelming in regards to comparing ourselves to other people and their islands. I feel like this version of the game, New Horizons, was a different experience than the prior Animal Crossings, if that makes sense.
Oh, it makes a lot of sense to me as someone who played the originals because the originals, like I said, were like Rossetti made me cry. I was a sensitive kid, but like I had never had a character yell at me in a video game, and I really hadn't been expecting that playing, Animal Crossing. It's like cute animals, but then the animals are actually kind of mean in the first version. They're a lot nicer in New Horizons.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah, a lot of them had different personalities, and I wonder if that had, I don't know, like I've never like read into it, but it might have a lot to do with translation or, the original, I don't know.
I looked into it a little bit because I was really interested in this, like the changes that they made. I was not the only child to be scarred by Rossetti. So that was one of the reasons why he was taken out of the game, much to some people's dismay. Like he was a very popular character, but he also caused a lot of quote unquote trauma to like the little children playing it. So it was their decision to soften because they knew younger kids would be really interested in it and would be playing it. And they didn't want kids to have that same kind of experience. They wanted people to have a fun, nice time, which I think also adds to part of the reason why people enjoyed it so much at the beginning of the pandemic, because people just wanted soft interactions with cuddly looking creatures, and it just worked out so well.
Definitely. I found myself the other day actually, because after like it kind of faded out and like I built my island, right? I kind of stopped playing for a while. I think everybody did, like for a month or so. And then it's so funny because working from home is like it's good because I love that I get to stay home, but also I feel like leaves a lot of room for anxious thoughts. And so, and like just anxiety in general, because it's like, well, we're not going out. Does that mean I'm not productive? Right. Or, even though you are working and doing everything, I feel like the isolation in general magnifies a lot of my own anxiety. And I feel like, what do you guys think? Has that magnified your anxiety or made it worse? Or yeah.
I would definitely say so. One of the worst symptoms of depression is isolation.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the things that I normally try to get my clients to do when they're facing that kind of thing is to go out, meet people, do things socially. But now it's like, because there's just not as many opportunities for any form of interaction these days, and I want to make sure that they're safe, so I'm not gonna like recommend that they go to a big party.
Yeah, definitely. Just go on a party in Animal Crossing.
Yeah, exactly. Animal Crossing party.
Yeah, exactly. So, for me personally, it definitely magnifies that. I realized a lot through this pandemic that I'm a very anxious person in general. I guess you could coin it the whole high functioning anxiety, because I do done. Oh, sorry. Am I allowed to curse here?
We'll figure it out. It's fine.
Okay, but I do get stuff done. But the thing is, I am very anxious about it. And so the other day I was like, my mind was just going off and like, I had to do this and this and this. And I'm like, okay, I need to stop. So Animal Crossing was actually a way for me to stop that thought and kind of stop that anxiety for now. Just put it on pause because at the moment it just wasn't being helpful. And it actually worked. After it, I was like, okay, I feel so much better. I feel a little bit more grounded. Now I could like tackle whatever else I need to get done.
So it was like a really good replacement, because it was like you knew you still wanted to get those things done, but you just didn't need to feel the anxiety. You're like, I'm going to replace it with a break, replace it with some Animal Crossing. And then It sounds like it was really helpful.
Yeah, definitely. And I was like, wow, this really works.
Yeah, but that reminds me like of some conversations we've had about the idea of like games can be so underestimated sometimes, like the power they can have in our lives to like give us that break and an opportunity to connect with people. And I can hear, especially like we've said, like during the pandemic, this was what we needed. We needed this like cute, contained, soft space where we can like talk to people, but it was a lot lower stress.